What is up, everyone? So today I have the Tiberius T15 paintball marker. We're gonna go over its features, its price point, and whether or not it's a good purchase. So let's get into this review and see what it's all about. All right, so the marker I have here, it's gonna be fully modded. This is not the final stage in what I get. As you all know, if you looked at my channel, everything I have, it's modified, 3D printed. There's something that I do to it to make it personalized, like I'm sure all of you like to do. But before we get into this, I want to talk about some of the modifications I'm going to do in the near future and why I purchased the T15 instead of a standard paintball marker. So the first thing I want to get into is the reason why I purchased a paintball marker in the first place is for a less than lethal home defense situation, okay? So basically with real weapons and stuff, in California, there's a lot of legality things that you got to consider. The nice thing about a paintball marker is, first of all, it doesn't waste ammo, which, as everyone knows, ammo is expensive currently. You could practice with it every day. So since the platform is based on an AR platform, I mean, I could go to the paintball field and still run maneuvers however I want to get some line of sight down and shoot actual human targets. As you all know, when you go to the range, you're not shooting human targets. You're just shooting paper targets that stand still for the most part, right? At least with this, it will allow me to manipulate a real style weapon and be able to shoot something that's moving and have fun while doing it, and also saving money in the long run, okay? And then also getting your skills down. I was gonna take up airsoft, but the main reason for the paintball thing is because it's killing two birds with one stone, okay? You have a paintball marker that you spend a great deal of money on to make it just like your real one or whatever it is you have, and let you get all that muscle memory down. But it also turns into a home defense style weapon when you could put any type of glass breaker, ball breaker, whatever you want to call it, rounds in the magazine and let you do that. The nice thing about the Tiberius is it has a mag option, and then you also have the hopper fed option, which would go here. So that's a little bit backstory on why I purchased this marker, okay? So let's go over the features. And if you're interested in any of that stuff and how I adapt this paintball style marker into real life, I'm gonna start shooting videos of me playing with it and taking paintball serious in a sense of being able to do manipulations like drop the mag, reload it, put it in the plate carrier, all that stuff. I'm not gonna run a hopper fed system only because that defeats the purpose of my use. So that's that part of it. As for the actual marker itself, you have this collapsible buttstock here. Let's start from the rear and work our way forward. So you have this collapsible buttstock that allows you to drop this into a smaller configuration. To be honest, this buttstock's awesome as far as the look and stuff. You have all these connection points at which you could put your QD mounts to. So if you have a QD sling, you could mount it to the back here. There's no mount for the front, so you're gonna have to purchase that separately. And then you gotta run a remote line, okay? If you're doing long games, I guess remote line's the way to go. But since I'm using this in a home defense situation, I'm gonna remove this buttstock. And I frankly like the look of it, but I do not like the functionality of this buttstock. Because as you can see, when you place it in the shoulder, it rides on the upper part of my shoulder. It doesn't get into the pocket, so it's not down here. And when it's up here, your cheek well's here, right? So you're gonna have a face mask on when playing paintball, so your cheek's gonna be pushed up against that. And if you run a red dot, it's not gonna allow you to really sit your cheek close enough to the rail system like you would like. Also, having this so short, it just tends to ride higher on my shoulder, okay? And that's going to lead me into some modifications to this buttstock, and I'll show you that in a near future video. Okay, so I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to get rid of this whole thing. This thing cost $150, I believe, and that's one of the reasons why I bought the PDW version. So this short setup was because it did come with this, and I'll get into the price points on all that a little bit later. Okay, you get this regular A2 grip here. You have your trigger guard here, which is just like the real deal. You could remove it and modify that part of it, which I'm going to do as well. You have your rail system. When purchasing your PDW, consider the rail system that it comes with. When I purchased this on the website, it did show a key mod rail system, but as you can see, it's an M-lock rail system, and you got to make sure that you're purchasing the right mods for your rail. Okay, so I went and bought some BCM Foregrip, and basically that's a no-go for me, because when I bought the BCM forearm or forward grip, I bought the key mod version, and then when I received this after I bought the key mod version, as you can see, it's M-lock, so it does not work. So make sure you receive the marker before you purchase any modifications, because the rail system may change even though the picture doesn't show it. Okay. And then it's also a slimline rail system, which I like over a full quad rail system, because it's smaller profile in the hand, so it's more maneuverable. If you got lengthy arms like I do, it may be a little uncomfortable, especially like collapsing the buttstock so far out. As you can see, like I'm kind of scrunched up. I would prefer my arm to be extended a little bit further, but that's where the foregrip is going to come in to play. So one really big issue with this buttstock that I do not like is the fact that it doesn't extend far enough for me. For a smaller player, it may be okay, but the biggest issue is this. When you push this button in, it just pops out like nothing. Okay, you have two positions. You have fully collapsed, which has a notch here, or a notch here I should say, and then fully open, which has the notch way over here. So two positions only. You have a set screw right here that's supposed to hold this in place from sliding out, but no matter what, this set screw is real loose in there. I could like move it with my hands, so you're going to need to make sure you Loctite that if you do decide to use this. But also when utilizing it, pushing it in, if this set screw is too far inward, it's going to scratch your receiver, and if it's too far outward, it's going to loosen up and pull itself out. So that's what it looks like as far as that notch of where it grabs on the set screw. Okay, I don't like that. I was going to modify this to accept a tank and accept remote line, but I'm dealing with the HPA air, you know, your high pressure air, and that's kind of sketchy, especially if you don't have the proper materials to make sure the modifications go well. I mean, you're relying on this aluminum keeping everything secure. This may be steel. I didn't take a magnet to it, but keep that in mind when modifying stuff that's going to accept the HPA air. All right, and then for the barrel itself, this barrel, let me take it out for you. So it's a unique barrel. It's Lapco. It's made in the USA, and the bore is 6.687. But it's a proprietary barrel. As you can see, you can shoot first strikes in it. You have this notch cut out where it slides in and then it cams over into two spaces, and that allows you to shoot hopper fed or mag fed by just twisting the barrel, which is a pretty cool feature in theory. You have your Raging Donkey muzzle projector. And the reason why I call it muzzle projector, typically on a real weapon you would have a muzzle brake or a flash hider, but this just enhances the noise of your air that's releasing into an outward effect. So the people from the left and right of you probably won't hear it as bad, and then you won't hear it, because just like a real weapon, it's projecting that noise forward. A muzzle brake itself will project the noise to the side and give the concussion to the people next to you. So that's pretty neat that it would amplify the noise, because in all honesty, it's a game and you're just there to have fun and also get some training out of it. So that's what the end looks like. There's an abundance of modifications that you could do to this. So keep that in mind. This is not a one-stop shop. I mean, I'll be modifying it probably as long as I have it, which will be forever, because I'm never satisfied with the end result. So when looking into the dust cover here, as you can see, you can't see much in there. But when I rotate this barrel this way, counterclockwise, you could see the bolt. And then when you do it clockwise, it covers the bolt. So when you can see the bolt, that means that it's ready to accept the hopper feed. And then when you can't see the bolt, that means that it's ready to be shot through mag fed. Okay. So your bad lever or battle assisted lever does not work here. Okay, so this is what typically will send your bolt into battery. All right, that doesn't work. Your mag release is identical to the real deal. Okay, you have a mag. We'll go over the mag in a little bit. You have, let's extend this out so you can see it. As you can see, this thing gets hung up too. I haven't adjusted it, but it already has worked its way loose. I don't know if you could see that, but just from me holding this, it's already loose to the point where that set screw is already touching the wall of my receiver. You have your select. It's not ambidextrous. Then over here, of course, you have your select lever. So you have your safety right there, which don't allow you to pull the trigger. You have your semi, which allows you to pull it. And then you have a full auto, which is locked and it doesn't work because you have to buy the full auto mod for this one, for the T15. If you're looking for full auto, which I do recommend, only in a sense if you're gonna take paintball kind of serious alongside with your home defense, the Milsig, I think it's the 117 or P117 or something like that. That comes stock with full auto. Full auto for this one is like a $200 or $300 upgrade. I think it's like $199 or $299 for the upgrade kit. And currently they're out of stock. So if you're looking for full auto, I would definitely check out the Milsig 117 or P117, whatever model that is. But it does come full auto with that, okay? So let's talk about build quality. As far as everything's concerned, it's real metal. This is all aluminum lower, aluminum upper. Everything's ready to go right here. The nice thing about having it full metal is you could buy real steel parts for this, and they're universal for this weapon and any alike weapons that you have that you shoot on a daily. So that's things to consider, is try to get a real steel style platform, so that way you could use both modifications on either this weapon or your real one, and you don't have to spend extra money on that, okay? Also, the weight is there. As far as weight's concerned, it's just like the real deal. I mean, it's heavy. So keep that in mind. If you're just looking to play paintball, then this may not be the way to go because it is heavy. But if you're trying to simulate situations that you may encounter and you want to shoot moving objects, definitely I recommend this. Okay, so let's talk about the magazine itself. As you can see, I have a red magazine. They come in clear smoke, and red, blue, a few different colors. These are limited edition. They do, just like the real Magpul ones and stuff, they do feel the same, except they do have a metal top here, okay? And that's so that way your paintballs don't get crushed and they feed precisely, because paintballs are gelatin and they will get crushed. That's what the inside looks like, or the little detent, okay? You could clean them. I believe you push that little tab down. I haven't taken this apart, but you could take it apart and work on it for sure, okay? Which is pretty neat that they give you these options. As far as colors are concerned, these are limited edition colors from A&S Gear. I bought these so that way I know which ones are my play mags for like playing on the field, and then which ones have the glass breaker or the self-defense, home defense style projectiles in them. So that's why I chose the red, because it's like saying, hey, warning, you have this mag in, it's gonna hurt if you take this to the paintball field, okay? So as far as modifications are concerned, okay, stay tuned for those. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna modify the stock. I'm gonna get rid of this whole stock, build my own system where it could accept a large tank, like one of those 45s or 50s, and I'm gonna have a stock that replaces it, or a butt stock that could clamp over it, so that way I could utilize a big tank. Also, I'm gonna, I have the First Strike 15 4500 tank coming in, carbon fiber, which if you don't know about tanks, if you get the 3000 PSI tanks, keep in mind that 3000 PSI is about 10 balls per cubic inch. So you can multiply 10 times the 3000, or not 3000, 10 times the 10 or 13 cubic inch tank that you purchase, and that's going to give you how many rounds. It's also depending on how much air you're allowing to shoot through your marker as well, but just a rough average, it's going to be about 10 balls per cubic inch. As far as the 4500s, they're going to be about 15 balls per cubic inch for your tank setup, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I'm going to have it where I could put on any size tank, and then I could clamp a butt stock on it instead of using this setup. For the grip, I already bought the grip. I'll show that in another video on the installation about the BCM grip. I'm going to replace this stock A2 grip with the BCM grip, because I prefer that feel better. But I mean, this one doesn't feel bad at all either. I just don't like this little piece in between my fingers, but I mean, it's not a big deal. As far as the Foregrip's concerned, just being in California and stuff, your real AR platforms have to be featureless unless they're considered assault weapons. So the nice thing about having this is you could platform this however you want, and you're not going to get in trouble. So I'm going to have a broom handle here. I bought a BCM Foregrip here, but like I said, it's not going to work out for me because it was a key mod purchase, and I did not get a key mod rail. So I decided I'm going to make my own Foregrip. So stay tuned for custom designs in the future. As far as the optics are concerned, I did purchase a optic. I bought a Vortex optic, and I'm going to show you that installation as well in a separate video, but I bought that as a red dot. As far as your charging handle is concerned, it comes with the stock one. These are going to be proprietary to the gun itself, okay? So even though it looks like the real deal, it's actually not, okay? And the reason for that is because it has to cam the bolt differently. So what I did was I purchased another charging lever, and it's going to take some modification to make it work, but I'm going to make it work because I prefer the other charging handle over this one anyway, okay? Your finger guard here, or your trigger guard, whatever you want to call it, as you all know, maybe not, but these were designed to pivot out of the way, so that way in cold environments, when you're wearing a big glove, you could still put your hand in there. But the one I have is an enhanced trigger guard, which is designed for the real stuff. It's BCM as well. I like BCM and Magpul, so that's all you're gonna see me really run on this stuff. There's other brands like Phase and stuff, but for the most part, I'm a fanboy of those, so that's what I like. That's what I purchase, okay? So I have a BCM trigger guard, and the cool thing about that is it's gonna serve the same purpose, except I won't have to, if you have big gloves on, you won't have to swing this out of the way. It basically enhances the trigger gap here for your gloves to fit. Not that anyone really is gonna have an issue unless you're living like in Russia or something where it's freezing cold and you got those big poofy gloves. I don't think you're gonna notice a difference, but it's all about the cool factor, right? Okay, so let's break down the inside of the gun. These pins are sticky, so these two pins are kind of a little bit hard to push out, so you're gonna have to use a tool to push it out, and by using a tool you're gonna have to push on this side to slide it out, and then it'll cam out. That's good in a way because you don't want these things to just roll out on their own, and then also it keeps this upper a lot stiffer on the top of the platform, not allowing to wiggle. Okay, so that's what the bolt looks like. I'm gonna break all this down in a future video, so I don't want to take too much of this out right now, but you push in this plunger, you cam it over, and the whole bolt comes out, the whole system comes out. To get this out, I believe I have to loosen this top bolt, but like I said, all that's going to be modified in this upper section once I get to that. You have some O-rings in there. It's like a specialty O-ring right there, and then you have your trigger group here. Nothing too crazy. It looks like a drop-in trigger, just like the real deal, except it's going to be proprietary to paintball. Okay. One thing I don't like about this upper is, as you can see, it's kind of loose from left to right until it clamps down. And when it clamps down, I mean, you got to actually really seat it and push in this pin in order for it to line up. Okay. Once it does that, it is solid. There is no wiggle on the top end of it. One thing I don't like about this barrel is, as you can see, there's wiggle in it. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's wiggle in it. And a real weapon, that's gonna affect trajectory as you shoot. If it's like that and it lifts up on you, it's gonna, you know, cause it to shoot higher when it exits, depending on how fast that projectile is leaving here. So I would assume it would do the same, okay? Whether or not rifling on a barrel or smoothbore is correct for your purchase is dependent on what projectiles you're going to shoot out of it. If you're going to shoot first strike projectiles, you definitely want rifling because it's going to give you way more distance and precision. Because what it does is it will spiral that projectile just like a football and allow it to follow a target further at a further distance and more accurate distance instead of like swaying from left to right. If you ever look at a golf ball, it has like little dimples, or a tennis ball which has a little fuzz. Well, that's made to direct the ball in a certain area. Same thing with rifling on a barrel. It's made to keep that projectile straight as far or as long as possible for a longer distance. Okay, for a round ball, smoothbore is the way to go because to be honest, the projectile of the round ball is not going to be able to utilize those grooves that are cut into a rifle barrel into that gelatin like it is on a real projectile, you know, for a real gun. And at least with the first strike rounds, it's going to run on those fins and allow it to rotate. Okay, but with the round ball, it's not going to be able to dig in and actually make that ball rotate correctly. So smooth bore is the way to go. People say the stock barrel isn't that great because that's why they sell you upgrades. So keep that in mind when purchasing anything. Is this worth $100 more than the stock setup? Yes, because this alone is worth $150, which you could sell it for $100 and you got your money back. but the stock one does not come with the short barrel. It does not come with the tip, and it does not come with the foregrip. So by purchasing $100 more worth of accessories here, you could sell that for $100, even though it's worth $150, and make your money back right there. So I definitely recommend the upgrade if you're wanting the short barrel and this upgrade for your purchase. So that's going to complete today's little overview on the Tiberius T15. If you're interested in any of this stuff and the upgrades that are coming up in the future, consider subscribing. Give that like button a thumbs up, and until next time, I'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks for watching.